Hey everybody, welcome to this deep dive on Georgia. No, not the one with Atlanta and those delicious peaches. We're talking about the Georgia, nestled in the Caucasus Mountains between the Black Sea and the Caspian. This Georgia is a land of stunning natural beauty, with its rugged mountain ranges, lush valleys, and picturesque villages that seem to be frozen in time. This region has a history longer than a CVS receipt, marked by empires rising and falling like a game of geopolitical Jenga. From the ancient kingdoms that once ruled these lands to the modern nation-state we know today, Georgia's story is one of resilience and adaptation. We've got ancient kingdoms, the Silk Road, Persian influence, Ottoman rule, and of course the long shadow of Russia. Each of these empires left an indelible mark on Georgia, shaping its culture, architecture, and even its cuisine. It's a place where East meets West, and frankly, it's seen some things. The crossroads of civilizations, Georgia has been a melting pot of cultures, religions, and traditions for millennia. This unique blend is evident in everything from the country's diverse architectural styles to its rich tapestry of folklore and traditions. But through it all, the Georgian people have held on to their identity. Despite the numerous invasions and occupations, the spirit of the Georgian people has remained unbroken. Their traditions, language, and customs have been passed down through generations, preserving a sense of national pride and unity. They've got their own language, a vibrant culture, and frankly, some of the best damn wine you'll ever taste. Georgian wine is not just a drink, it's a symbol of the country's enduring legacy. The ancient tradition of winemaking in Georgia dates back over 8,000 years, making it one of the oldest wine-producing regions in the world. Seriously, forget Napa Valley, we're talking about a winemaking tradition that goes back 8,000 years. The unique climate and fertile soil of Georgia's wine regions produce some of the most exquisite and distinctive wines you'll ever taste. From the robust reds to the crisp whites, Georgian wine is a testament to the country's rich agricultural heritage. This brings us to the crux of the matter, Georgia's fight for sovereignty. Throughout its history, Georgia has faced numerous challenges in maintaining its independence. From ancient times to the modern era, the struggle for sovereignty has been a constant theme in the nation's history. Imagine being a small nation, constantly caught in the middle of bigger powers vying for control. This has been Georgia's reality for centuries. The strategic location of Georgia has made it a coveted prize for empires and nations seeking to expand their influence in the region. That's been Georgia's reality for centuries. The resilience and determination of the Georgian people have been tested time and again, but they have always risen to the challenge. From the ancient battles against invaders to the modern struggles for independence, Georgia's history is a testament to the strength and courage of its people. And after finally breaking free from the Soviet Union, they're still grappling with the legacy of that turbulent past. The fall of the Soviet Union in 1991 marked a new chapter in Georgia's history, but the road to true independence has been fraught with challenges. Today, Georgia continues to navigate the complexities of its geopolitical landscape, striving to build a stable and prosperous future for its people. The year is 1991, a year that would mark the beginning of monumental changes across the globe. The Berlin Wall has fallen, the Soviet Union is on the brink of collapse, and the Cold War, which had defined global politics for decades, is coming to an end. Across Eastern Europe and the former Soviet states, countries are scrambling to reclaim their independence. National flags are being raised and people are taking to the streets in celebration. Georgia, after over 200 years under Russian rule, seizes the moment and declares its freedom. The streets of Tbilisi are filled with jubilant crowds, waving flags and singing songs of liberty. It's a time of hope, a chance to rebuild and forge a new path. The air is thick with the promise of a brighter future as Georgians begin the arduous task of rebuilding their nation from the ground up. Georgians understandably wanted to distance themselves from the Soviet past. Statues of Soviet leaders are dismantled, and symbols of the old regime are removed from public spaces. They looked west, embracing democratic ideals and seeking closer ties with Europe. Politicians meet with European leaders, and the streets of Tbilisi are filled with rallies advocating for democracy and integration with the European Union. But there was a problem, a big bear-shaped problem called Russia. The shadow of the former Soviet Union loomed large, and Moscow was not ready to let go. See, Moscow never quite accepted the idea of Georgia slipping away. Russian politicians made it clear that they viewed Georgia's independence as a direct challenge to their influence in the region. They saw it as a threat, a challenge to their sphere of influence in the region. Military exercises near the Georgian border served as a stark reminder of Russia's lingering power, and so began a complex dance, a geopolitical tango where Georgia tried to assert its newfound independence while Russia tried to maintain its grip. Diplomatic meetings were held, but protests against Russian influence continued to erupt in the streets. It's a dance that continues to this day, with every step fraught with tension and uncertainty. The struggle for Georgia's independence is ongoing, a testament to the resilience and determination of its people. Fast forward to 2008, a year that would become etched in the annals of history for Georgia. The world watches in horror as Russian tanks roll into the Georgian regions of South Ossetia and Abkhazia. The tension that had been simmering for years finally boiled over. This wasn't just a border skirmish, it was a full-blown invasion, a stark reminder of Russia's willingness to use force to achieve its goals. The international community was caught off guard, and the repercussions were immediate. The war, though short-lived, left deep scars. Buildings were reduced to rubble, and the landscape of South Ossetia was forever changed. Thousands were displaced, lives were lost, and the Georgian economy was devastated. Families were torn apart, and the sense of security that once existed was shattered. But amidst the rubble and despair, something remarkable happened. The people of Georgia began to rebuild not just their homes, but their spirit and their hope for the future. The Georgian spirit didn't break. In fact, it hardened. The resilience of the Georgian people became a beacon of hope and strength. The invasion only strengthened their resolve to resist Russian aggression and pursue their aspirations for a secure future. Protests erupted, and the call for independence grew louder. This is where NATO enters the picture. The alliance, which had been a distant goal, now became a lifeline for Georgia. Joining the alliance became more than just a strategic goal for Georgia, it became a matter of survival. Georgian soldiers began training with NATO forces, and political leaders worked tirelessly to strengthen their ties with the alliance. The journey was fraught with challenges, but the determination of the Georgian people never wavered. They knew that their future depended on their ability to stand strong and united against any threat. For Georgia, joining NATO and the EU isn't about picking sides in some geopolitical game. It's about security. It's about finally stepping out of Russia's shadow and securing a future where their sovereignty is respected and protected. They've implemented democratic reforms, tackled corruption, and modernized their military, all to meet the criteria for membership. They've jumped through hoops, filled out paperwork, and generally made a strong case for themselves. But Russia isn't a fan of this whole joining the cool kids club thing. They see NATO expansion as a direct threat, a provocation on their doorstep. And they've made their displeasure abundantly clear. Tanks and troops aren't the only weapons in Russia's arsenal. They've also mastered the art of what we'll call digital shenanigans. Think massive cyber attacks, disinformation campaigns, and economic pressure, all designed to destabilize Georgia and undermine its pro-Western government. We're talking about hacking into government websites, spreading fake news on social media, and generally trying to sow chaos and confusion. It's the 21st century equivalent of whispering lies in a king's ear, only with more bot accounts and fewer velvet robes. The goal is simple: make life difficult for Georgia, make them question their Western aspirations, and ultimately bring them back into the fold. It's a classic case of if I can't have you, nobody can.